wanted to show you is if you go to apprenticeship.gov, there's a section called About Us. And where you'll find it is under Resources, About Us. But what this is going to give you is a fact sheet about our team and what we do at different levels in our team. So let me just share that briefly with you. You can always print this out. And I want to be sure that people understand that there are two divisions of apprenticeship programs. There are those programs that are run by the federal government, and those are identified in green as Office of Apprenticeship. And then there are those that are recognized state apprenticeship agencies, and those are recognized on this map in blue. The only real difference is that the ones in blue are run by the state registration agency. And then we have state offices. I'm going to say that state office staff is probably the most in touch with what's going on specifically in your state. So if you went to this page, you would find your specific state director. And what you would do when you start thinking about a registered apprenticeship program is just introduce yourself to the state director. I'm trying to go slowly, so you might catch the names here, but it's fairly easy to find. And the state director is going to assign what is known as an ATR. We rarely call them by their formal names, so just remember the acronym ATR. They are the representatives who help you to get your program registered. Next, I wanted to share with you the self-assessment tool, and you can see the link up here. I also put it in the chat, and I believe it is also going to be in the handout that is mentioned at the end of this presentation. But if we go to page 5 and 6, you will notice here that they have an introduction to the partners that might be available in apprenticeship. So I want to be sure that you know that this is part of the self-assessment tool. A sponsor is the person or persons or organization who chooses to be the administrator for the entire program. So I want to tell you that a sponsor can be as small as one small business owner with one apprentice. That relationship can exist. So in the teacher world, it could be one department in a school who decides to register an apprentice, and the teacher decides to take on the responsibility of the program. However, I want you to also understand that the sponsor can be a large organization. It could be, for example, the Department of Education. It could be a superintendent's office or a school district. It could be an individual school. It all depends upon how you would like to develop the program. Okay, so the reason I started with this particular exercise is you can see clearly that as the sponsor, you really have to engage a number of people, not only to get buy-in, but to figure out what their role and responsibility is going to be for a registered apprenticeship program. You can have what is known as employers. Those are people who buy into or they sign on to a registered apprenticeship program. So using the Department of Ed sort of as the sponsor, if you think of employers being the districts or the individual schools who sign on under the registered apprenticeship program run by the Department of Ed. And one of the big roles for them in particular is that they do the hiring of the apprentices. And with that, they do the orientations and all of those types of things that normally go on with a new hire. But in many cases too, they also take on the responsibility of that apprentice to work in a specific environment under a specific mentor. So other things are related instruction providers. Again, as an employer or as a sponsor, you can determine where a student is going to go. The workforce system is really part of the state agency system that someone else mentioned under quality and safety, I believe. But the workforce system is going to provide a lot of support services and often funding to help you out. And then the state apprenticeship office or the registration agency, these are the top 4 that you need to make contact with right away when you start thinking about your program. The state apprenticeship office is the person that I showed you in the state offices. You're going to contact the state director and they will assign you an ATR. All of these other things, including organized labor, are things that you're going to incorporate as you start to think about how you want to do your program.